Now let me come back to choice of connectors and the display here. First thing is cost. What all you want now, including intelligent connectors, will probably built eventually. Then you see here, nobody wants to spend more than they have to. Using the cheapest connector and not cost effective, it fails to do its job. Now what is its job is the main thing. So obviously if you go down, you have so many of these things. It starts nicely. That is the reason why also I too wanted to start with the power connectors. Ruggedness, is it going to be plugged in and unplugged once a year or 10 times a day? So I think now you know the game. We won't think that we use it that often, but actually in reality we use it quite often. So there is nothing like a connector which you just connect it and leave it. If it were such a thing like that, we would probably use a permanent terminal block. That is, there is a post, you put a lug and then you tighten it, and then when you want it you must open it and slide it out. Such things are operated occasionally, but any other thing where you need to push, lock and unlock takes huge amount of trouble. Number of operations are very high. So first thing is, because it is written from a non-electrical point of view, environment, will it be exposed to the weather such as an outdoor antenna? How about salt water? Subject to vibration and a machine, someone likely to step on it. In the case of our things like the telephone handsets, a dangling test is carried out, saying if I have to hold it and then try to imagine this is the headset, the handset, likely to fall and so on and all that, no? And similarly, what if it's a semi-public or a public thing like your coin operated telephones? You would have seen the way the cable is attached to that. Except what you call determined vandalism, it can take everything else. Normal, a few knocks it can take. In fact, the probably electrical circuit and the other thing, including if you have a GDT tube or anything, failure of that occurs much before failure of these things. But mind you, it is not 100% vandal proof. It is a determined vandal, like a determined crook, anyway is going to get it. So I leave it. Important issue is this environment and ruggedness are the ones that determine how big or thick or additional extra cost we get into this. Okay. Now important is signals. You have seen this. Is it for power and ground, analog, digital? Slowly we are getting into very unsafe, unknown grounds. Frequency. Is it simple audio? Advantage of audio is, advantage and disadvantage you can make out, it is hum. As I said, you can have 50, 60, 100 and 120 hertz hum. Anything above around 20 kilocycles is normally not perceived by us. But then some of us can make out. If you remember, the old monitors had a 13 kilohertz raster generator and transformer. Several people were getting irritated by it. So in a TV set you stay far away, it's no problem, close together it's a problem. So in this case, frequency, one is how it affects us, secondly the radiation and the pickup which causes it, that is the one that causes the problem. We are slowly coming into voltage and power. Voltage is the one which determines the insulating characteristic of it. if it is a current, the current carrying capacity or the conductor provisions operate on this power level. Loosely, if you say this is a something for a 1 kilowatt heater, if I say this plug is meant for a 1 kilowatt heater, it only makes little bit of sense. Seen this, no? Now you see something very, very unusual about it. You see there is a small opening there, and then there are 2 pins here. I think if you have used it, you will know why it is that they have provided that, instead of making it like the other one which is our standard. Even here, no, lot of care has gone into making this. One of the reasons I brought it here is this. One part of it is these pins are approximately compatible about the diameter, everything, but this is the safety feature which is very, very critical. It will only get power if it is in a recessed contact like this. Only after you put it inside it will take power. And first thing is, some of the things are so made that you cannot push it into a normal 2 pin this thing. They have made enough provision to make sure that it does not go into a simple 2 pin socket. So, this is a 3 pin, probably it is a DIN or some other European thing, and this is an ancient thing which we have acquired, which you do not see anywhere except the jewel in the crown and the empire where the sun never sets on the empire. You know what I am talking about. Even they have switched over to flat contacts, which is wiping type of contact. Coming back here, higher currents require larger, thicker pins, higher voltage require more insulation. Signal level, is it microvolts, milliamps, microamps? Need to have the contacts rated properly. You have seen that, no? In this case, signal level they have used, it could be power level as well as signal level. Come to, can we get a second source? Is it a standard type of connector available for many manufacturers or available only from one company? Why should such a thing happen? On 2 counts, because tremendous amount of development expenditure has gone into it. So, for some reason they have overcome the shortcomings of the earlier what do you call archaic or old designs, and then they have improved them. So, as it comes, it will have several things which you want. One particular combination of, let us say, both normal contacts and coaxial and all that, only some people make it. It is not as easy as we think. So, as we go down here, slowly we come to more and more interesting and familiar things. You have seen that number 1 is power connectors, which I have also started with, which I feel used to connect power cord PCs and test equipment. Here loosely, because it is taken from a source from them, it shows 110, but normally you see them also with 230 volts. I hope you people remember this. Is ancient, but still I am happy to show you these things. You have seen at the bottom we have a solid strain relief mechanism here, then you have a shell here, then you can push one connector on the other, and most likely on the top here probably there is some clip or something which holds them together. Let me be a little faster. I am sure all of you have seen these loosely they use some name called RCA in the places here where I work now, they call it an RCA connector. I do not know if RCA started it. They will notice that there are elements of its being coaxial. The conductor itself is coaxial, and hence the contact also is coaxial. At the top At the top it is made springy, and to make it springy you need to make cuts in it so that it expands like this and comes here. And then the other thing, generally by definition, usually the one with the socket contacts is whole. Oh, we come to very interesting thing, phono plug and jack. It looks good, is it not? It is not strictly speaking coaxial connector as such, because the pins are not coaxial, pins and sockets, but overall the outside thing is good, and then on the other side it can go to a coaxial cable. This is how most of your mobile phones, any audio equipment and all that, this goes on to the device which is the source, and this goes on to things like your headphones and all this. And we come to all these nice beautiful flat connectors. Why it has been used here is that you have seen this, no? I mean, I am not able to recollect what that RJ stands for. I am sure you are familiar with this. You find them everywhere. This is typically something which has a low number of overall operations. Every time you will not be using them, but all elements I was telling you, including a lock here, including a housing here, and including all these pins, and something which any of you have been in the field will notice is the way the cable is clinched into this. There are power, clinching devices which you put the cable in one side, it does the necessary thing, other one, then you push it inside and you have a reliable from the cable to this socket arrangement. Similarly, on the other side, from the cordless set or anything, at the end of the cable, other part comes, and then nicely they go one into the other. You have seen there is a small projection here, and then the connectors are here outside. I mean, connections are, the wires are here, and then it neatly goes inside. That one goes here and clicks in place, and this is the socket, and that is the plug portion of it. Now, I am sure all of you are familiar with the BNC and so called UHF connectors. So, we have the shielded genuine coaxial connector. Exactly what it stands for is unclear, but I am sure it is clear. B stands for B type, N is generally type N, that interconnection, and it is very common. So, you see here we have a nice device here which engages onto these pins here. I wish that shown it other way, and this side here is where all the beauty of, you have an outer conductor, inner conductor which are terminated, elsewhere in the thing it shows, and then after that we have a beautiful nut which under proper assembly, and if you do this thing and the packing, it is quite strong, it does not get jerked out. And now you see the other end of it here. There is a beautiful arrangement of both the outer and inner conductors, and at the back large number of panel mounting options are possible. You have simple 2-hole mounting, I have even single hole, or in this case there is a nut at the back, then you have standard flange mounting with 4 this thing. Further, if you go down, this probably at one time the what do you call, it took a little time with frequencies and all that. As things went on into the so called ultra high frequency, this has come down to saying we need a more reliable connection, and hence ultra high frequency but this one has a threaded thing. Above you have B and C, similarly you have a T and C also, but this is called a threaded UHF connector. So, which is, if you have a receptacle with a thread, similar things are used for everything, but you see a little thing about this thing here, it has two ends. One part of it obviously measures here, the other part of it is, it's actually an adapter. This one has the same features here, which will go and fit here like that, but as a expansion, I am sorry, as a things to explain, these are reasonably good. So, at this point, if you can recollect all those outdoor equipment which I have shown in the earlier pictures, all of them carried these type T connectors. There is a beautiful rugged thing which is there, on the top you fix it, and occasionally, depending on your interest in making it rugged, even things like silicone or other rubber sleeves are available, and then if they use appropriate type of packing and all that, they are practically, it can be made IP67. Even underwater also, that special connectors, you can use it. I stand corrected because I do not know how to do it, it is just that I have read it like you. And then this is probably the most commonly used 2-row 5+4 9-pin connector which you find everywhere. It was called a D-sub connector, okay, and this is the Centronics old connectors which are used for the parallel port. At that time, this was the standard. Right now, since the arrival of our USB and type USB 3.0 and more than one USB option, similarly if you have a printer port, you can use it. I am sure most of you, when you have your laptops, it also has a connector to connect it to the projector as well as the wherever external device you have. So, it has 3 rows, I am not sure there is 21 pins or not. That connector somehow has come to be as the RGB connector, because all of these projectors and all work on the old RGB thing. So, RGB 21 pin you must have seen without, it is a very common thing, is now replaced by the HDMI. As you go down here, we are coming to really nice, for archaic people like us, we grew up with this. Advantages is, you see on the right, no, it is explained. If you have any printed circuit board, preferably double sided, we have the harp or other contacts. All you need to do on the printed circuit board, you need not mount a separate 2-piece pin type of connector. All you need to put is finger contacts on both sides, the little bit of beveled edge, and you push it inside, they go nicely inside here. So, again here 2 variants are shown here. You see this one is directly soldered onto a printed circuit board. So, before the full specification of DIN 41612 and 617 came about, most motherboards had this type of a connector mounted on another board, and then something a little like a bus was created. But then you can do, part of it can be bus, and then you have a high end low point and so on. This is same as the thing, contact interface is same, except that this comes with soldering lugs. Advantage of the soldering lugs are, you do not need a printed circuit board, and then if you have a cable which is either flat or circular, still you can neatly terminate on this, and then at the back usually there is numbering. Finally, we have ended up this beauty of these things. So, insulation displacement connectors. One well known thing is this spectra strip. I do not know if 3M or AMP or who has made it, or the same company. Advantage of it is you have flat cables, very large number of connections, and then you keep one of these contact on it, then there is assembly tool where these contacts are like this, and then when you push it inside, it displaces the insulation and nicely gets attached to here. And done properly, generally there will not be any failure at the insulation displacement thing. Only here if frequently you plug in and out, you have a problem. But if you have to open a PC and see, even today the main cable harness which connects all the parts, this insulation displacement connectors are used with large number of this thing. So there are several things including so many of these things. I'll just skip this. Having talked to you a little about those connectors, I suggest you spend a little time and try to read up about the various types of options that are available, because this connectors thing is just about that too many of them are there, just too many, and then some of them are they are intentionally designed that they will not mate or will not accidentally, somebody does not push something inside in the wrong position. So if you are to take a cable harness of a car, cable harness of a car is a big affair and not operated by only trained operators. I would like to operate my car, it does not move afterwards, that is a separate problem, and I probably pay twice as much to get the proper electrician to get it back, but I would like to hack or tinker around with those things. There the connectors are made very careful. The audio parts and all which are already there, they are made such that if I install another speaker, it should go and mate with that. If I install another audio system, it should mate with that. If I have a back end camera, not back end, I am sorry, rear end camera, everything should mate specifically with it. There they use connectors of course with specifications which are commonly available, which cannot accidentally be interchanged. So you look at my this thing here, the word gender refers to whether it's a plugs or is plugged into, and it's typically male or female. Can there be a genderless connectors? Yes, there are connectors which do not have a gender, meaning anything can mate with anything else. Is it possible? Some of you have dealt with electric cars, would have come across Anderson connectors. It is a special type of connector by which both look a little like the same, and it can just as a very funny word called butt wipe. So it wipes and it sits here. Those things in a sense any connector can mate with anything else, but it is when made very carefully such that as a color coded, then there is again one more header, one more this thing and all that, so that they won't randomly mate with anything else and then make sure with it, trying to make it safe, not about racism. You have seen here, beautiful, not many of us would have observed this. You have seen this. We are trying to protect, to make sure that the neutral and the phase are not interchanged. Obviously otherwise there eventually everything has come into things which are 90 degrees spaced. One of it goes like this, one of it goes like this. If they are just rotated 90 degrees, it will not go into each other. Slowly we are coming into, very aptly they have written, I like this thing, business portion of the connector. By definition, we need connectors to connect and disconnect, isn't it? They are the metal parts which touch each other, forming an electrical connection. So Now they are conductive elastomers also, we will ignore that, but right now in this context it talks about the, as I said, the business of staying in connection. The contacts can become soiled or oxidized, or springiness or flexibility may fade with time. Why is it? Because finally it is made with one flexible material which is carrying current, and contact pressure is very critical. The moment the pressure comes down a little, chances are, the moment that pressure comes down a little, it may develop slight contact resistance, because it was originally designed for a certain contact area, maybe a total of 1 square millimeter. If the pressure becomes less, some part of it may be lifting off, and that is where the earliest chances of heating will start. You would have noticed it also, especially as I said, no, our parts where we use the circular contacts. After some operations, by some very peculiar physics, the face part of this starts getting hot and eventually it gets charged. Very rarely you find this happening with the neutral. I will reserve my statement. This is where it makes sure that this is very probably the reason several places, especially I think in the USA, they have come to flat contacts. Advantage of a flat contact is this plug is flat, and you can design the socket such that it makes a beautiful nice wiping contact here and takes it back. However, if you have this circular things, we have a little problem. We have a tube and then we have a plug which goes inside. Theoretically, two circles, one will not fit other, the same, it will not fit. If something is a little bigger, it will end up with a line contact. To prevent it, what they do? They provide 2 slits or sometimes 4 slits. So still from one line contact we end up with maybe one more line contact. Still the guidance and all is directly taken from the electrical part of it. In contrast with this, I am not sure whether it is a DIN or what type of it. You have seen here, part of the guidance is taken by the shell from outside. Until just before the contact, there is absolutely no issue, and then you see there is a small groove here. The moment it starts moving in, the whole guidance and then the parallel thing is made from here. Such a contact, very little chances of it. Even here, I have managed to damage it because of constant use.